Hello, class. This is May 1 briefing. It's week 15, and we're entering our last week of class. And I'm putting together this final video to get you guys briefed on what our final presentation reviews will be next week. We've had just a great semester. All of you have worked so hard and created such great book products. I couldn't be more proud and impressed with you. And now this is the time and opportunity for each of you to really take stock and put together the work you've done over the semester and create a presentation that will communicate the story of each of your book projects to a judge or panelist or set of people who you'll be meeting with on our Zoom meeting next week. So I just wanted to give you the lowdown on that to make sure that everyone's as prepared as possible. And mostly I want it to be a chance for you to go through what you put together over the course of the semester and be able to kind of make the best curated story of your process, of your design and of your result as possible. So let's go over that and get you guys set up. So for week 15, our final reviews are going to be Thursday. We're going to meet at the regular class time. So everyone needs to meet at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to meet together as a class, and then we're going to get into breakout rooms, 3 or 4 of them. And I have a set of different judges coming to meet on that Zoom session, and each group of judges or maybe an individual judge will be assigned per breakout room, and each breakout room will have 5 of you meeting together. And within that group of 5 plus a judge, 4 or 5, you'll each have an opportunity to present for about 10 or 15 minutes. You'll go through each of your projects, starting with your baby board book, followed by your storybook, and then your audiovisual book. Those of you who have, and most of you have designed your audiovisual book to match the same book as your storybook. And if that's the case, then your third project is still your third project, but it sort of folds into that project because the concept of the story or the history of the story or your inspiration may be the same. So those presentations just need to take that in mind and just sort of add that on as an additional piece. If you did a brand new story or created your own story for your audiovisual book, then of course treat that as a full separate project. Talk about the story, the text, and how you came to pick it, and your visual inspiration, and a little bit of your process, and then have your full audiobook for everyone. Have your full audiobook in place, but only be prepared to show previews of it. Maybe it's 5 seconds in the beginning or 10 seconds in the middle. Just show a few sections. I hope to get these audiobooks in advance to the judges, and hope maybe they'll take the time to look at them. I'm not going to count on that, but they will have access to them in case they want to see the whole thing. But there just isn't enough time to play it in full. But with that said, also to back up a little bit, I want everyone to make your slideshows. And I'm calling them slideshows because I want them to be made with Google Slides so that you can seamlessly have the play experience of your story, your audiovisual book work. And hopefully that will be for the best sound. I'm a little worried the sound's not going to work very well. And also having it as Google Slides will give everyone a chance to add a movie that you could make some cuts of your actual printed book. Those of you who've gotten in 1 or 2 of your printed books, it would be cool to have that be part of the end of your design presentation to show the actual book. Or if not, making a movie and put it in your presentation, showing the book by having it in your hand. All right, so present all 3 projects using Google Slides, or you can use PowerPoint. Anything that'll kind of seamlessly play a movie within the presentation. And then I want you to curate and edit content for each of your projects. So your finals for each of the past 2 projects, at least, were probably pretty comprehensive, and it should still have that spirit, but I want you to kind of edit it down so that you're still telling the story about what your project is about, the book or story that you chose, a little bit of visual history in terms of your research, your inspiration, and then your concept statement. And then I want you to also be able to show some form of process. I don't want you to present like a week by week story of each of your iterations of your design. I just want some way to get them behind the scenes to what it took to create your book. It could be your storyboard. It could be your storyboard and maybe some design sketches or preliminary layouts, just something that shows that you created this thing and the thinking behind how you developed your finished piece. Because I think that'll also help create more of a story in terms of your process and bring more value to that result. Sometimes if you just go right to the result, you don't see behind the scenes, you don't see what it took to make it. So I want to make sure those dots are connected when you present. But the key is that you don't spend too much time on presenting your research, your strategy, or your process. And then you go through each book and show the results. And then do that with both projects, with both book projects, as well as with your audiovisual book. And again, showcase a preview of your design concept, of your design. I'm sorry, for your audiovisual book, post the full audio book in your deck, but play only strategic parts that show what you want to show. So that's basically the idea. I posted the final presentation assignment on Canvas, so you get more details there. And I've also posted a couple of links that will take you to examples of what past presentations are like, and they all vary a little bit. And none of them have the audiovisual book in it because you guys are the first. You'll see bookmarks mostly as the third project, and some don't have storybooks. They have short storybooks. I mean, they don't have baby board books. They have short story books. So of course, none of these are exactly what you're doing, but they do show the idea of 3 projects in one deck and how to consolidate it to kind of have the essential parts, but without it being too long. So each of you should have some kind of thing about DIRT and about the class assignment. You don't have to go through it in the presentation, but it should be there to make it a proper presentation. And then start with in your case, it'll be your baby board book. This is a short story book, but for you, it'll be about showing an overview of the assignment, talk about the book that you're, or the story that you're presenting, or in the case of the baby board book, you're making it up. So it would be different than this again. So this is not exactly modeling that, but I'll show you a different one that has a baby board book. But if this was your storybook, it would talk about the story you selected. Maybe you don't have to show past iterations. You can if you want. It depends on what works for you. Some stories don't have any, so it's not relevant, but if it's a good idea, show this. Your design concept statement is key. Make sure you talk about that. Design inspiration will be important to show. And then get into like showcasing the result of what your story looked like. Little details like having this nice little shadow on white to make it look a little bit 3D are a good idea. Like do as much as you can to make this thing look as realistic as possible. And then it's also a good idea to show maybe the whole book in one, or all the spreads in one place to get a sense of the full idea. And then you repeat it with your second project, the same parts again, where you're talking about the preliminary stuff before you started. And here's an interesting thing is to make it a challenge, like how she took on the idea of a story like Sleeping Beauty and decided to adapt it to a 21st century version and completely rewrote it. She chose again the show pass covers, and then her design concept and her design inspiration. And then again, going through the layouts in a cool, clean, big, impactful way, as well as showcasing the full breadth of the layouts. And then the final project, these are bookmarks. So you guys didn't do bookmarks, but if you did, there would be the third project. And then wrapping it up by showing all 3 projects is kind of a nice way to end it as well. And then of course you must have your thank you statement, as you all know by now. Another example is here. Of course, you have your cover statement. and that, you know, some way to use the design. You don't have to use the dirt logo, but you can if you want. Again, talking about dirt, having it as a page, not going into it too much. And then showcasing each story, showcasing an overview of the story, the background about the story. She put a quote in there, which is kind of cool. And then design inspiration, the design concept, some color palettes, showing the storyboard, and then getting into the actual design. And in her case, she showed the cover and then showed the pages as 6 per spread, which you can do if it makes sense for you, if it's the best way to show your book. Her second book was a storybook, and again, the same thing. So you get the idea. Showcase the storyboard, and then you show the pages. Let me show you one that has a baby board book in it. So here's another presentation, another way to show what dirt is. Here we have the baby board book as our first project. Talk about what the project is and what the design concept is. It's also wrapped up in here. Here's her design inspiration, her visual inspiration, typography inspiration, her storyboard, so you can kind of do the development of the project, and then she goes right into showcasing every spread at full size. And that's how you can choose to do it this way too if you want. I think, again, the idea of having a page after this that shows all the spreads together, it's probably a good idea to see it together. So I would recommend doing that. Then here's her storybook that shows past iterations, that shows design inspiration, typography inspiration. And then if you did text work and you want to kind of show a little bit of that and cite examples of how you changed it, that could be a good part of your story if you want to show it. And then, of course, showing the layout of the book. This class had a bookmark at the end and showcase that. Okay. I guess there's one more. Let's just go through this one real quick. Maybe it's not a bad idea to show the 3 projects at the beginning, but never show the designs. Just you can say what they are, but not the designs. Have the title page for each story. Oops. Get into the overview of the assignment. Talks about the story text itself. Shows past executions. Shows the mood board inspiration. Makes a design concept statement, and then gets into showcasing the book within 6 spreads per page. And then there's the same with her storybook. Talks about the text. Shows design, past design executions, and mood board statement, and then gets into the layouts. And here are the bookmarks. Okay. So I think that'll give you a pretty good idea of what's going on. Let me get back to this. All right. So there's a folder in the Google Drive at the very bottom called Final Presentation. That's where you'll post your deck when you're done and right before you have it up there before the class starts. And then there's also another folder called Class Resources. And in that folder, you'll find a folder called Final Presentation Examples. And in there are 3 of the examples I just showed you in case you wanted to page through them. Okay, so that's basically it. Again, be prepared to present on Thursday, have your decks ready. Those of you who are still working on your audiovisual storybooks, please wrap those up as soon as possible. Share with me anything you need to show me, and email or Slack me once you have posted your final working prototype onto the Google Drive so I can check it out. All right, everybody, looking forward to seeing you on Thursday, and excited to share the work we've done with our guest judges. I'll see you guys then.